So in the last couple of days, I've really started noticing a trend in that there is several people who either seems confused on Nintendo's marketing for the Switch Lite, or that they're flat out saying it isn't worth it. And I want to explore this subject and figure out if it is indeed worth it, and more importantly, is it worth it to you? We know that the Switch Lite did have to make several sacrifices in order to get its very enticing $199 price tag. But yeah, is it worth the money? So let's look at both the original Switch and the Switch Lite. The first thing we should look at is the key differences between the original Switch and the Switch Lite and how they affect the console. And the first thing that anybody's going to notice is obviously the Switch Lite is a little bit smaller with a 5.5 inch screen compared to the original, which is 6.2 inches. This actually has an effect on several different things, one being that the Lite is a little bit more portable, not majorly considering that it still isn't really a pocket device. Now, if you wear a jacket with an inside pocket, you could carry this thing around. And of course, if you carry a small purse, that does help as well, but unfortunately, it just isn't small enough to carry around in your everyday pants pockets. This means that it will typically stay inside your home, which I don't really think that this is a bad thing necessarily. I've always loved handheld devices ever since I was a little kid, and in fact, I've played the original Nintendo Switch since it launched primarily in handheld mode. Actually, I didn't even use the docking station up until Super Smash Bros. Ultimate came out late last year. I played Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, and several other games in handheld mode only, because I think Nintendo games work really good as handheld games, and this has shown time and time again through the popularity of their handheld devices. In reality, their handheld devices has mostly been more popular than their home consoles. There's just something about playing handheld games that feel great to me, and certainly genres in specific like JRPG games. I don't know why I like them on handheld consoles so much, but I do. The smaller screen does also affect the sharpness of your screen, which means because games will be on a smaller screen, they'll actually look a little bit better on the Nintendo Switch Lite. Not majorly, but they will look a little bit better. With that said, I do fear that heavy dialogue games may be hard to play on the Nintendo Switch Lite if they're not optimized correctly by the developers. I already find many games with far too small fonts, and having an even smaller screen could make it too small to comfortably read, so do think about that. The next thing that you'll notice on the Switch Lite is that they replaced the left Joy-Con controller with an actual D-pad compared to the 4-button layout of the original. This was actually a very requested feature among fans for a long time, so it's a very good thing to see. I never really cared for the 4-button layout, and it was actually kind of weird in certain games, especially if you like fighting games or something like that, or even several platformers. It just doesn't feel right. But I understood because, well, they're trying to make each Joy-Con its own individual controller, so multiple people could play on the small Switch screen all at the same time. But I think that was more of a novelty than anything because I never used this once. Maybe you did, but I can't imagine that it would be very comfortable doing something like this. All gathering around the Nintendo Switch screen with tiny controllers. I don't know. Now with the Switch Lite, I do think it's important to note that you can't detach the Joy-Con controllers, which is one reason that they decided to go with a more traditional D-pad. Again, I think this is only a good thing though. Unfortunately though, the new controllers doesn't have Rumble or IR, so you do need to take that into consideration. And actually some games, which are few from my understanding, but some can't be played on the Switch Lite at all, such as 1-2 Switch, and I'll explain why. The Switch Lite cannot be docked, which means it cannot be played on your TV. This is where most of the complaints seem to be coming from, and I don't think this really is a problem, and I'm going to explain why I believe this. Now, obviously, I can't make this decision for you, but for the most part, the people that I've seen complain about the Switch Lite already own a Nintendo Switch, and personally, if you already own a Nintendo Switch, then I don't think this product is aimed for you. In fact, I'd say in most cases, the Switch Lite is not worth it for people who already own a Switch. Now, I know there's some special cases, like maybe you want a second Nintendo Switch in your household, maybe you want to get your child a Nintendo Switch, and in that case, the Switch Lite is a very good option. The Switch Lite instead will be geared towards non-Switch owners, who either are looking to play some of Nintendo's games on a cheaper console, or are primarily looking for a handheld experience. Maybe they're coming from the aging 3DS, and I also think this is a great option for parents wanting to buy their kids a Nintendo Switch, and as I said earlier, I think Nintendo games are great in handheld mode. I mean, I can't wait to play Pokemon Sword and Shield on my Switch, which I will play in handheld mode, as I do with most games. Now, you can connect separate Joy-Con controllers if you do want to play some of those games that aren't available on the Switch Lite, but the Lite doesn't have a kickstand, unfortunately, so I can't imagine this would be too comfortable. This is an odd decision, but I don't think it's a deal breaker either, considering I don't think a lot of people are buying a Nintendo Switch for games such as 1-2 Switch. I also know that there's Labo, which also can't be played on the Switch Lite, but again, I don't think a lot of people are going to really miss that game either. Maybe some people, but probably not too many. So this is the question though, is the Switch Lite worth it? And I'd say absolutely yes, if you don't care about playing games on your TV. If you want to play Switch games on your TV, then by all means, save your money and buy the original Switch. However, if you don't care for the TV experience, which I believe a lot of people don't, I think the Switch Lite will be a great option, and that is what the Switch Lite is all about. Nintendo is affording us different options for different people. No two people are the same, and we like different things. This is no different than the 3DS and 2DS. Some people just didn't care about the 3D feature in the 3DS, so why not just buy a cheaper 2DS? Or you can say the same thing about the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro, or the Xbox One, or the Xbox One X. These are options and appeal to different people. Of course, I can never make the choice for you, but I do believe that the Switch Lite will be worth it for those people who just want a handheld device. Or if you're a parent and want to buy your kids a cheaper console with honestly some pretty amazing games such as Mario Odyssey. And that is the most important thing, the games. Which the Switch has some very good games. Yes, the Switch Lite does lack a few features that the original Switch has, but I don't really think this matters to a lot of people. The most important thing you need to ask yourself is, do you want to pay the extra $100 to play on your TV? If you say no, then the Switch Lite is perfect for you. If you say yes, then you need to just save your money and buy the original Nintendo Switch. Options can be a beautiful thing, and I think whether you want a cheaper device that is geared towards just being a handheld, or if you want to play on your TV, I know it's a little bit more expensive, but there's options there. I really don't think you can go wrong with either decision here, so it just depends on what fits your preferences the best. Anyways, I hope this brings a little clarification on the Switch Lite and whether or not it's worth it to you. And if you do decide to buy it, I hope you enjoy it. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Peace out.